What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to another episode of the Prairie Podcast. Don't remember what episode this is, but it doesn't matter. Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays to all you people out there. Hope you had a great holiday weekend. And yeah, we are back here talking hockey right now. Jets aren't playing, but we have some World Juniors news to talk about. We got four prospects, I believe, over there, all playing today. Pretty good action across the board. Canada's goalie sucks. We'll talk about that. How you guys doing? Merry Christmas to all you guys.
Doing well. I watched hockey all day and went to 3 different stores to find a reverse retro Morrissey jersey. So
Fun time.
that was fun.
Was that a new chain?
Yeah, a new chain. Shout out to the grandparents for unwisely spending $40 on this, but I'll be wearing it around. What about you guys? Anything new for the holidays?
Not really. Just had a good Christmas, and then I was watching hockey all of today. I watched 3 junior games today. I was watching all 3 of them. So yeah.
It was a good Christmas and a shitty Boxing Day. Is the way I look at it. It was weird. Like Christmas was great. Got a couple of Jets jerseys and stuff and such, which was very nice. And then we go to Boxing Day, where it's always hyped up, and it's like, yeah, so usually the first game is fine, Canada's fine, and usually like game 3 is when the competition ramps up. And they're starting with Czechia again. Czechia. Like, okay, this will be fine. This is supposed to be the best Canada team that they've ever raced. Maybe.
Oh, shut up, TSN.
Fine.
Shut up, TSN.
Maybe even better than 05.
I watched all 3 of those junior games on TSN, and between every game, between every intermission, they always had to go back to the frickin' milking Team Canada. Oh, it's going to be the greatest ever. You know, God himself has come down to bless the team this time, and that they're just going to win everything. And I was just, this team hasn't played anything. Stop it. Let them play, then we'll say if they're good. And oh boy, it was not that.
Sharks really tanked, and he wasn't even like on the Sharks. It was bad. Like it was bad.
Yeah.
Do we want to?
I don't know. Do we want to talk about? Do we want to talk about this game, or do we want to talk about the Jets game or the Jets prospects first, and then lead up to this one? Give them a little teaser.
Let's cover the prospects first.
Okay. Well, let's start with game 1. How did we feel about Brad Lambert getting snuffed in the overtime?
I wasn't too happy about
to
that.
The bench just to watch Joakim Kamel turn the puck over and have Switzerland go the other way, and some 6'6" defensive defenseman go the other way and score.
That's why Finland lost.
Do we
Finland
know?
Decided to lose.
Is their coach the coach that coached the juniors last season for Finland?
I believe it is, and I know where you're going with this.
Okay, well then don't expect Brad Lambert to be playing anytime soon. Because last year, any significant minutes anyway. Because last year Brad got benched in the semifinals. And was getting about no ice time anyway, playing about 8 minutes tops a night, and we didn't get to see a lot of Brad Lambert in this last summer here. And I don't think we're going to be seeing a lot of him this year, because it did not seem like he was getting a ton of shifts, to me anyway.
Wow.
Like assigned to adjust after you lose a game to Switzerland, but I don't.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, one thing that I do actually find interesting about this is like you mentioned, that with him being the same coach and having that similar behavior of not playing Brad Lambert, I almost wonder, one of the biggest things for scouts to watch is the World Juniors. They like watching the World Juniors and seeing all these guys together, because it's kind of hard to judge sometimes when you have the European talent playing in their leagues and the Canadian talent playing in their leagues. Having them all together, it really gives you a great idea of how these guys stack up. So I almost wonder if a guy like Brad Lambert not playing that many minutes almost attributed to why we were even able to get him as low as we did, and why he wouldn't have been ranked higher. If he had a lot more time in the World Juniors last year to shine the way that he did in the preseason for the Jets, I almost wonder if he gets ranked a little bit higher and the Jets don't even have a chance of getting him. with their second pick. That
If
is.
the-
So
if the
it's an interesting thing to kind of consider.
Yeah, if the tournament didn't end last year, if it didn't get paused and then moved to the summer, I don't think there was a chance in hell that the Jets were going to get Lambert because obviously, I don't know, he was lighting up the tournament, then it stopped. Him and Perfetti were actually playing really well, and then I don't know, the draft came by and he still sucked well, didn't suck, but he just getting put in a bad situation in
there.
Finland,
That's the best way to
and
put it.
then. Yeah, and then maybe wasn't ready for the men's league totally yet, and then yeah, I don't know. He just kind of fell down the board. Jets got lucky, and then he didn't play a lot in the juniors. So it's I don't know. I feel for Brad Lambert. He's a guy that I just wish could get a little bit of a break
For
at
sure.
least here. Goes on a bit of a run with the Moose, and then gets sick, and then I don't know. Just
Yeah.
poor
You're
guy.
just getting like
But,
you're getting a little taste right now of what Brad Lambert can do in these little phases where he's finally healthy, playing good hockey, and then something bad happens.
Yeah.
But
Mhm.
in that time in between though, he's been playing some really good, impressive hockey.
Mhm.
We just can't have him get Ville Heinola syndrome where he doesn't ever get that chance to shine.
I don't even want to talk about that.
We need to get that spotlight
Let's-
on him, and
Let's
I'm sure
stay
he will
away
eventually.
from Billy today. I don't need to go on a tangent, but I don't know. If we, let's keep speaking of a guy that's had a rough go. Let's talk about Chaz Lucius, who seems to be finally playing a healthy season in the NHL after
He
2
scored
years.
today.
He did, and it was the game winner.
Mhm.
Good for
Yeah.
Chaz, man. He looked great.
He did.
And one thing that's kind of cool is that him and McGroarty play on the same line. So that's a lot of fun. I hope that doesn't change.
And also, I love that in the sense of it gives the Jets the opportunity where if they have to bring in these guys, being able to bring them in together and having these guys played with each other prior, it can sometimes be just a really big tool when the Jets want to move their lines around and check some stuff, just because they'll know something that already works and whatnot. So it at least gives them one option that really they have to put almost no effort into. To an extent, so I feel like from a coaching aspect, that's an easy trick to kind of have up your sleeve.
Which is funny because, like, at this point, that's pretty much the reality of the Winnipeg Jets. Is hey, let's find some more chemistry. 'Cause we're
Exactly.
I mean, it's not. I don't know. I thought Chaz looked really good, and I mean, obviously, he had a really nice goal there. Went on his backhand and roofed it opposite corner. So I mean, good for Chaz. I thought Rucker, from what I saw anyway in the U.S. game, he looked pretty strong. He just could not keep the puck settled down. I don't know if the puck was bouncing or what on him, but he was a little bit of a turnover machine. But if he can clean that up, his skating looks way better. He looks a lot smoother out there, and he's strong, man. He looks like he's 20 pounds heavier than every other guy on that U.S. team.
No, for
So,
sure.
pretty exciting. I mean, he's already like 205.
I
The
really
Jets could
like
use
the way
some
that
size
everyone
still.
played tonight. All of our prospects, like I have a thing here with all the ice time and everything tonight. And like when you look at just how the Jets our prospects played, Fabian Wagner, he puts up 3 points tonight in only 12 minutes and 51 seconds of ice time. That's the least amount of ice time. And then everyone else
Excellent.
plays really, really well. Chaz Lucius gets 15. Everyone played almost around the same amount of ice time. And believe it or not, Brad Lambert had more ice time than Rutger McGroarty tonight. Brad Lambert played almost
Man,
15 minutes. Rutger McGroarty played only 11 minutes and 30 seconds.
It's only a 30.
Huh.
It's only a 30-second difference from him and Chaz Lucius too.
Yeah.
It's worth noting.
Mhm.
Just the problem is that there was overtime involved in that.
Exactly.
Like, what the frick is this?
But no, like everyone played, I thought, pretty well today for a day one. Like I wasn't really sure what to expect from Wagner this year. I knew he was going to be a depth piece for that Sweden team, but I really didn't think that you'd see him playing that well with his line mates. But this could be a really good low-key tournament for the Jets with these 4 guys in there. There's been times where we've had the most players out of any team when it comes to prospects, and this year it's a little bit more on the quiet side, but they're still playing really well, and it's really good for the future, especially considering how close some of these guys are to actually being contributors potentially.
Well, and this is a great example. Like you're saying, we don't have necessarily the most amount of prospects, but I'd argue that the quality of the prospects that we do have in this tournament is quite high. And it's also nicer in the sense of sometimes when we have so many prospects, in the tournament, there you don't have as much time to pay individual attention to each of them. So having a little bit more time to kind of focus in on a few of them gives, I guess us as fans more of a better grasp on these guys instead
for
of having
sure.
to split our attention 19 bloody ways or however many players are in it. So
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know who expected. I don't know. I was kind of joking on Twitter today that all I wanted was a Fabian Wagner point, and then I got 3 of them, including a pretty nice goal. So good for him. Honestly, he's the one guy from our draft class that I don't really know a ton about. It's the guy that I probably know the least about.
Honestly,
And
I was the same way,
yeah.
Jackson, and from what I remember post-draft coverage on him, everyone really liked his game and thought that he was a low-key quiet pick. It's just one of those guys that kind of slips through the cracks and that you don't really hear anything about. Like, I just looked him up to see highlights, and the best you can find is like 480p footage of him scoring his first goal a couple years ago. There's nothing of it until this game. So this is his coming out party a little bit to show, fans what he can do and maybe push for a role in the future with the Moose. We're so log-jabbed right down there with depth forwards right now. Like, Christian Reichel made this team last year. I don't even think he gets a look, for the foreseeable future unless everybody else goes out. So I think that, there's a long road ahead of him, but he could get there. And, I'm all for it. I really liked his play tonight. I thought he looked like, I had guys on Twitter that were like asking me if I thought he looked like a steal because they thought that. And I don't know if I'd go that far, but he definitely looked good for a 6th-round pick. I believe that's what it was, right? A 6th-round pick?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
But
Wow.
I can't
There you
ask for
go.
anything more than that out of a 6th-round pick, right?
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, obviously it's against Austria, which needs to be taken.
For
I was
sure,
about to
for
say
sure.
that.
Like this, the
At
final
least it's
score in
worth
this,
noting that like only a couple players had 3 points on that in that game. The scoring
No,
came from
each-
everywhere.
3 points. No, that is totally worth noting for sure. The other 2 players had 2 goals and 1 assist, which I honestly think is almost more impressive that he's the guy with 2 assists, because I feel like when you're playing a team like Austria, almost the incentive sometimes I think is just to shoot the puck because the goaltending is notably weaker. So being able
yeah,
to create is almost to a higher standard, I think. But yeah, no, only about just under 13 minutes of play. For sure that's impressive. Which is funny because we have it's a weird day. It's a very weird day because we sit here and we're like, look at all these prospects. Look at how great they did. And then you go to the country game. And what the fuck was that? What was that?
Yeah.
That? Like, and it's funny too because we don't have double, like, we have investment because we're from Canada, but we don't have double investment. Like, Perfetti's not in it. Perfetti's too good for that shit. Like, we don't.
I don't
like,
think he's playing anymore because
we
of
have-
age, honestly,
and we
Zach.
don't
I think that's what it
draft-
is.
Aged out.
He can't play anymore.
we don't draft Canadians. Like, we never.
yeah.
Never had.
Someone's gonna be real upset about that in the comments. We drafted more Canadian guys. It's gonna be more about that. Yeah, I don't know. How do you guys feel personally? Like, do you guys care about the Canadian World Juniors? Like it just
Okay, hold
prospects
on.
or not? Do you
Like,
guys
it-
care?
And in what context are we talking about here?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean,
I'm not talking
I
about
mean-
I'm like Canada, all that matters. Obviously, I love when we win, and I love beating the Americans. I will for the rest of my life. I'll never stop saying that.
Yeah.
But that being said, I as an adult now,
Yo.
I don't view the World Juniors as like a Canadian thing anymore. Like, let's watch it and go for Canada. I view it as how are the prospects for the Jets doing. I view it as a complete talent showcase now, even for other players. I don't really care about like the country pride in it anymore. It's great when Canada wins, but like sometimes there are teams that are just so good it doesn't matter what country they are. You just want to watch the hockey.
Well,
No, out of
and
10.
that
That's just my kind of view on it.
What's-
That's nowadays.
that's the thing. That's the thing I find interesting is that as much as I like, watching the Jets prospects and what they have to showcase, the most interesting thing besides me obviously enjoying the Canada games that I find is the teams that go up and the teams that go down through being promoted and being relegated down, and how hockey as a sport
Oh,
is actually developing in some of these other countries, and how you see teams like Germany that have done a lot better and whatnot. And can you hear me?
yeah, I can hear you. You cut for a second, and then it went really fast, and then it went back to normal. That was
Oh,
pretty
okay.
funny.
Sorry. To see how hockey is growing in
You're
other
talking
countries and whatnot.
Yeah, we're gonna pause it here. I'll splice this.
Okay. I was gonna say, I'm like, so
I don't even know what he's talking about.
Yeah, I
okay,
was
I'll wait.
lost.
I'll splice
Can
it.
you hear? Can
Okay,
you hear me
Carter.
at least?
Hello?
You were rough there for a minute. Okay, here,
Hello?
Carter. Re-say whatever you just said.
Well, basically what I was saying was that one thing that I find very interesting in the World Juniors for me now is just kind of to see how the sport of hockey as a whole has really developed in some of these other countries that you wouldn't have necessarily seen nearly as much about 10 years ago. And even hearing about some of the lower leagues of the World Juniors, I found a little bit interesting. But seeing teams like Latvia and putting up a good performance against the United States today, they had a great game. Like, I mean, I watched that Austria-Sweden game, and I saw Austria just get ran over. And then when the Latvia-US game, from the first shift, I was like, Latvia's keeping up, and they're really pushing back against the offense that the United States was able to put up. So it's interesting to see how a place like Latvia, that wasn't even in the top bracket, for quite a few years, is not only in the top division, but actually, pushing back against the United States of all teams. So it's I just find it fascinating to see how the sport of hockey has grown in places that it wouldn't have necessarily been just a few years ago.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I totally agree with the Latvia thing. I don't know, the thing that I'm noticing this year is just that we seem to have more of a competitive tournament. I don't think there's any runaway. I don't think there's any runaway team this year. I mean, we saw what happened to Canada today, whether that gets fixed or whatever with whatever they decide to change. But yeah, I don't know. I didn't watch this game too closely because I was too busy kind of giggling at it. But how do you guys? What was the biggest problem in that game besides the 8,000 penalties that Canada took?
Honestly, you know what? I'm gonna say it and then throw it over to the actual.
We didn't play any bloody
goaltending.
Defense.
I think goaltending was a problem for Canada.
The goaltending was bad.
But you know what, though? I
There
want
was a
to
lot of
ask this question
problems.
real quick about goaltending, and it relates to this game especially and the last couple tournaments. I feel like Canada is losing its focus on, like, elite goaltending. Like, we just don't see, like there are just so many elite goaltenders on other teams nowadays, and Canada lately with goaltending, it's been a little lacking in the crease of these tournaments. And it's a little concerning to see it again in the first game. You'll see how it affects the tournament, but I'm just wondering if you guys have thought that too. Like, when you look in recent years where some of these best goalies are coming out of in these tournaments, and it's not Canada.
So, like, it's funny. It's a weird conversation about goaltending because, like, historically, even like by Canadian standards, goaltending has never been a focal point. Like, obviously, there have been standout performances, but if you look at the pedigree of goaltenders that have came out of the Canadian teams, they're not amazing. Like, there really isn't. Personally, I would say that some of the best places to find goaltending is not in Canada. It's actually, there's a better focus on goaltending in places in Northern Europe. That's your best pick of the matter. Like, if you're looking for goaltending, you probably want to see Sweden or Finland. Those are your two ideal spots. Czech and Slovak have had their moments. The thing is like there's never been a focal point on it, and like for the last couple of years, obviously, like the last big deal.
Back from technical difficulties here. You want to continue there, Zach, on Canadian goaltending?
The last time Canada had like marquee goalies to focus around, or what we thought was supposed to be marquee goalies to focus on, were back in the days of Mikey DiPietro and Carter Hart, and both of them didn't win gold in the years that they were truly focused. I think Carter Hart ended up winning gold this second time around, but like
I think you're right. Yeah.
Yeah, but he lost the first year, and Mikey won gold. I think.
Oh yeah.
He just finished like sixth. They finished like sixth, which was, wasn't on Mikey DiPietro, but also like shit game. Like everyone wants, like I don't think Hockey Canada promotes goaltending really highly. Necessarily, other countries do totally like focus on it, but like growing The carry players are American, and a lot of them are Russian, a lot of them are Swedish, some Finns. Like, a lot of goaltender mix, and, like, I just don't see it. Like, it's not, like, a high priority for Hockey Canada. Like, it's goal scoring, shut down defenders, or better yet, goal scoring and then puck moving defenders, which adds nothing when you have a high powered offense. It doesn't. You're just like you're shoveling snow onto your driveway. Like, it doesn't add anything. But like I just don't see a focus there. And the goaltending, like, in response to how I felt with the goaltending tonight, yeah, it's bad. Like, Gaudreau ain't it, Chief. He ain't it. Like, and I'm not gonna say that all the goals are on him. I don't feel like it, but I feel like there's a lot of plays where he didn't make the routine save, which caused the situation to escalate from there to a point where he was not in a position to make a good save. And then the fifth goal is just utter dog shit. It is a terrible goal. Goes through both arms, which is almost impossible, but the shot is from such a bad angle that it goes through both armpits and goes in the net, where it looks like he's practically trying to play dodgeball with it. Like, it's horrible.
No, that was a terrible night for goaltending for them.
It was. It's one of those things where the defense did not play well either, but Gaudreau was not doing us any favors. You know, sometimes when you talk about an elite goaltender, you're talking about goaltenders that despite having a difficult workload will be able to sometimes pull off that fantastic save that will motivate your team to get moving forward. And Gaudreau not only was not able to do that, was not able to make some pretty simple saves that was quite demoralizing. It was hard to watch.
One thing I want to add too is that with all the stuff that we're talking about here, with how impressive the Jets prospects were and how bad the Canadian goalie Gaudreau was, it is only one game, and everything can change pretty quickly. Like, we're not even, like, we're one game in here, so there's going to be a lot of I don't know. I can see things going a lot of different ways. I wouldn't be shocked if Fabian Wagner doesn't ever have another point in this tournament. I wouldn't be shocked if Brad Lambert goes and gets 4 points next game. But it is just it is a little bit of a marathon with this. But obviously, if the Canadians can't figure out their goaltending and their defense a little bit, they're going to be in trouble. I don't think the offense is the problem. I mean, that Czech goalie was incredible, but.
I know. Apparently, a guy I was talking to, he said he plays for Prairie City and that he's just outstanding for them. So
he was incredible. Highlights are on right now, and I'm just watching him stone Bedard here. He's just incredible.
Can see.
But
it's on your thing.
Yeah, I know. I forgot to turn it off before we started here, but nothing we can do about that now.
He's learning as we're talking. There we go.
It
adds to it.
Learn by doing.
Mm-hmm. All right, but with all of that, I want to hear your guys' hot takes for this tournament. One hot take each. We're going to start with Carter first.
Oh, don't start with me. I have no idea. I need time to think. I don't know.
Okay, we're going to start with Jake.
Okay. Hot take for the tournament. You know what? I'm going to say that Canada is going to lose their first 3 games in the... I think so.
Whoa.
You mean against Germany and Austria?
I think they could.
Okay.
Yeah, you heard Austria, and you're like, oh.
Okay, Germany, I can somewhat wrap my head around. Austria, that's where you lose me a little bit.
Honestly, I'm just really joking. I honestly think my honest take is that I think Brad Lambert is going to finish this tournament in top 5 in scoring. I think he's going to really if he can get a opportunity to really shine, if the coaching staff finally gives him an opportunity, I think he could really surprise and definitely take off in this tournament and show the league what type of sleeper he was in last year's draft. But again, that's just also probably me as a Homer Jets fan. But do with that knowledge as you will. Zach, go for it.
Hot take. USA wins gold over Sweden in the finals, with Canada beating Finland in the bronze medal game.
Right.
I don't know what it is, but I look at it's funny. I look at that Team USA team, and I don't see holes in their roster. I don't. Granted, it was a more competitive game than it should have been with Latvia, but I just get this weird vibe from US this year, and I also don't trust Sweden come tournament time. Like, they're great. They are great in.
I don't have them going to the gold medal game for that reason, actually.
I don't. Yeah, but I just get this weird vibe. Or I guess a safer pick I'll say is that Lambert doesn't finish as the top Jets prospect for points only because of his ice time. Lucius gets at least 6 points in total in the tournament.
All right.
I have my hot take.
What is your hot take, Carter?
Latvia wins bronze.
That was gonna be my hot take, but
My hot
right.
take is that Latvia wins bronze. When I watched that game against the United States,
Impressive.
it was very impressive. And Latvia, I understand, definitely overperformed to expectations. But the thing that I noticed was just how complete as a team it looked. It didn't look like you had taken a bunch of guys from all over the country and packed them onto one team and they all had to learn this system. It looked like they had played the exact same system for years. It looked like it is one team that has developed for years under the same guidance together, which is a really unusual thing, as that's not something that you typically see, especially with like Canada. Actually, is a great example of that. It looks like 10,000 really good individual performances, which are normally just good enough to work together. Whereas as Latvia, I don't see any standout players, but they were so good at just playing really, really simple hockey extremely effectively. And their goaltender did fantastic against the United States, made some really, really good stops against the Americans. And I'm thinking, if they're able to put this much pressure against the Americans, who, like Zach was saying, has arguably no holes in their roster, imagine the kind of damage they're going to be able to do against a team that does. You know, like Zach was also mentioning, I've noticed that Sweden has kind of been struggling in when it comes out to the knockout round. And I'm not sure how much Czechia's success will continue. Obviously, it's really, really easy to get motivated against a team like Canada because you got nothing to lose in that kind of a game as a team like Czechia. So I'd be curious to see how they play against some of the other teams that are a little bit lower down in this top bracket. But I think Latvia can surprise and actually walk away with a medal, as crazy as that sounds. I think they'll at least make it to the bronze medal game. I think they could actually win bronze, though.
I'd like to see something like that happen. Surprises like that are always super entertaining.
I think it's possible.
I think, okay, I'm just gonna sputter out my hot takes here.
Latvia
Finland
win a game though. Like let's just do something in our head right now. Latvia needs to win a game though. Otherwise, who do you have Latvia beating in the round robin? Do you have them beating Switzerland? Because Switzerland's already
they can beat Switzerland.
Because here's the thing that's that might fuck them over though is Switzerland's already beat Finland. Which means that Finland, you know what I mean though?
We're not getting in too deep here. Okay. It's just a hot take. Just a hot take. But
dude, there's no such thing as a hot take with Zach.
No, it's an analytical take with Zachary Nola.
An analytical take with some heat attached.
Yeah. All right. I'm just going to toss mine in here. Finland doesn't qualify for the quarterfinals. They're out. Brad Lambert has a disappointing because of ice time. Brad Lambert does not play the last game of whatever their third game is, whatever. I was going to say Latvia makes it to the semifinals there. They lose in the bronze medal game to Sweden. And then I was going to say that the USA win gold against Canada, but Chaz Lucius scores a hat trick to silence Canada, and Canada loses 4-2.
I'm so conflicted.
And that is my hot take. But yeah, so very riveting stuff there. Do you guys have anything else that we need to add before we take off here?
No, I think we, fun little update, but no, there's not much to talk about, man. Just looking forward to the rest of the tournament. You always like to I always like to kind of like just guess what's gonna happen after, like after day one, because it's like you said, like Zach was saying, right? It's Boxing Day, it's the hyped up day, it's the day the juniors start, so it's always fun to make these predictions after and act like this is the end of the tournament. But if it was right now, Fabian Wagner, you'd be the GOAT. But nonetheless, though, I don't know, pretty good day of hockey, and I hope you guys had a good holidays. Glad to hear everyone here had a good one, and we wish you guys the best too for the new year as well.
Yeah, I hope the Jets beat the Wild.
Yeah, hell yeah. That game's tomorrow, right? I guess today with it going up today.
It feels like we totally forgot about it, but yeah, it is.
Yeah, no one cares about that right now.
The soda.
Yeah, well, with that, guys, I think we'll wrap her up here. Thanks for listening to the podcast. If you want to go check out our individual YouTube channels, rather, they will be all down in the description below. And yeah, so I'm going to wrap her up there. Go Jets, go. And we will see you in the next episode where we will likely, hopefully, be talking about who the Jets are trading for the right wing spot. But yeah, have a good one, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, guys.